So you're back from the break. So how's it feel to be back?
Really good, yeah. It's always nice to have a little bit of a break, during the season, kind of recharge, get some mental clarity, some physical clarity. So, I feel like the group is refreshed and ready to go.
And of course, this week we played New Mexico, a team that beat you 4-2 earlier in the year. So do you feel like this is like a payback or for the first game, especially since this will be for the for the Jägermeister Cup?
Yeah, a little bit of extra motivation coming into this game. They did beat us 4-2. Personally, I don't think that scoreline kind of reflected how that game went. But nonetheless, it was the score at the end of the day. So, I know a lot of the guys are motivated, excited, looking forward to kind of going back and just showing them what kind of a team we are and showing ourselves what kind of a team we are. We like to pride ourselves that we can hang with the best and play with the best. And, this is just another opportunity to do so on Saturday against a top team. So, extra motivated and looking forward to it.
Sometimes no matter how much you prepare, actually getting on the field and playing against the team is kind of the best way to learn what exactly they're doing, how to maybe best counter them. And so now you guys have faced New Mexico. What are maybe some of the lessons you're taking from that first match to implement here, try and get a better result this time?
Yeah, the best way is to kind of make adjustments mid-game and, kind of see what they're doing. No team plays the same way twice. There's always little adjustments that happened and, little things that you can do better next time. We're not going to go into the game and assume that they're just going to do all the same stuff that they did against us the first time. But, we learned a lot. They're a really tidy team on the ball. They have a lot of great technical players and, they're tricky in the midfield. So I think for us, just looking to have that high intensity, high tempo game, play on our terms, don't give them anything. And that's kind of what we're looking to do. We know how dangerous they can be based off the scoreline last time. So just trying to limit their opportunities and maximize ours. And hopefully that turns the game in our favor.
Something Carlos referenced was in that first match, it being almost kind of two different halves. Are you guys maybe kind of trying to channel, I know you said it's not exactly going to be the same, but are you trying to channel the things that seem to work a little better in that second half perhaps?
Absolutely. Watching the game back as a group and, doing video this week with the staff, it definitely is, highlighted to us how drastically different the two halves were. I think if we channel what we did in that second half and if we put a performance like we did for that second half all together and implement it throughout the whole game, then I think the scoreline will be much different. So we're definitely going into it looking to do more of what we did in the second half, more of that same energy, more of that tenacity, and more of the positives from that second half.
And like we referenced earlier, you guys are coming off a mental health break, kind of completely checking out for a few days last week, just getting away from it all, getting a chance to kind of hit the reset button. But at the same time, you guys have been on a 4-match win streak before that. Maybe it came at a bit of an awkward time. How was it kind of coming back in and, did it feel maybe a little different at first, or did you kind of just pick up right where you left off, feeling the momentum, feeling like things are going really well right now, let's keep it going?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think the mental health break did come at a good time. We were struggling player-wise. We had a lot of injuries. A lot of guys were playing a lot of minutes. So we got a lot of the group back. We're almost fully healthy at the moment. So I think in terms of the mental health break coming for them, it's perfect. It gave them an opportunity to not miss any more games and get back with the group. And then in terms of the other guys, I think a little bit of a mental recharge and a physical reset was just what we needed. You can't really take away the momentum from us. I feel like, the vibes are very good right now. The atmosphere is great. The guys are happy. So we came back from the break and are just looking to do more of the same and kind of keep the attitude and keep the mentality high and, kind of keep pushing on what we were doing before the mental health break.
And how do you personally prepare for a match like this?
I try to treat every game like the same. Some games the stakes are a little bit higher. This one, a cup game, win in advance, top of the group. So I think there might be a little bit more at stake for it, but ultimately just trying to keep that same mindset. Players play their best when they're feeling free and loose and relaxed. So not trying to put too much pressure on, yourself or the group or anything like that. Just go into it like it's any other game and, do what we've been doing. We're on a high right now, 4-game win streak. We're playing great. We're feeling great. and now we're recharged. So I think just from a personal standpoint and from a group standpoint, just keep doing what we're doing and treat it as we've been treating it, which is every game matters the most. There's no more important game than the game in front of us, and just put our best foot forward.
What's been the fun aspect of this season so far for you?
A fun aspect?
Yeah, what's been fun for you this past season?
I was watching a video of Luke's last post-game press conference, and I think he said it best in that video. Just the feeling of the brotherhood from all the guys, coming together in preseason. Throughout the season, you get so close with these guys. You spend almost every moment with them. You're with them every day. On away trips, you're with them, night and day. You eat with them. You're doing everything with these guys. And for me, I think the best moment is, whenever something good happens for somebody else. I think we all kind of share that, sense of joy when something good happens for somebody. I don't think on Saturday against Tampa, it was just Luke feeling the joy. It was the whole team. We all work so hard together every day. We see each other fight. We push each other. We see each other through the ups and downs. So when one person feels that joy, it's infectious amongst the group. And, I think that pushes us forward. So, you guys hear it a lot in sports, and, I know every team says this, but it genuinely does not feel like an individual culture here. There's such a togetherness, and it's such a good group of guys that you just genuinely want the most for each and every one of them. And I think that's been the most enjoyable part, is feeding off everybody's joy and everybody's happy moments.
Now that it looks like the 100-degree days are back, is it finally nice to have that extra San Antonio home advantage? We've been missing this summer.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard with the heat. Teams always, I come here and the group's always like, yeah, but Saturdays are so much easier when you're training through it all week. And part of me is like, is it though? All week drains you pretty fast. But no, I think once teams come and deal with this heat, it definitely, plays a little bit of a role. And us being so used to it and everything, it kind of gives us a second wind, a little bit of an advantage. So, looking forward to using that to our advantage now.